Hey guys, how's it going? Oh, I feel like I've had my chest muscles ache this morning. We had a 2-hour session on porn endgames last night. Where I'd lined up a bunch of puzzles that I got off chess.com. So in my sessions on Wednesdays, what we do in Chess Bootcamp Live is we'll do like 40 minutes or so of problems and interesting positions that I've encountered during the week or that I've got from members' games during the week. And we just look at these as kind of standalone problems. And then we're currently on our third week of endgame bootcamp, where we're going through stuff like the key squares, how to stop a pawn that's got to the 7th rank and stuff like that. We've been practicing that. And then last night we just did king and pawn endgames. Oh my goodness, there's some fascinating stuff out there. I mean, with so few moving parts, it's insane how it melts your brain, man. And what was interesting is that chess.com actually went down while we were trying to do some endgame puzzles on chess.com. So what we did was we fired up Lichess, and my god, the puzzles on Lichess, the themed puzzles, if you haven't checked them out, you need to check them out. I'm becoming a massive fan of Lichess. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. What I brought you here to talk about was this game, which we are going to do now. All right, so we've got white against a 1470 Potesta. Testa is mean head in Italian. Okay, and we have a Siciliano, so we're going to go for close Sicilian Grand Prix attack. So, I tend to feel fairly comfortable in the opening part of this. Where I tend to fall down is in making my kingside attacks stick. Don't know how well I've performed so far. And by the way, I haven't had a sip of coffee yet, so. Movie reference for the real nerds out there. 'Tis by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by something. The thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. Right? Not in the book, was in the film. The original film, the most expensive movie ever made at the time, and a box office flop. Heavily criticised by the critics, but I loved it. However, the remake, oh my lord. Alright, so we have this is the Grand Prix attack. Okay, we've got f4 in. The idea is I'm going to stick my knight behind the pawn, which is a theme in some openings. And if I get the opportunity, for example, if they push d6, okay, I'm going to swap off my bishop for this knight. There we go. Brilliant. So now I guaranteed swapped off because knight's pinned, can't do nothing. You can break the pin, don't matter. I trade, then I push d3, we have a light square pawn chain, and a happy S pawn structure. I just made that up. Don't quote me on it. Okay, so we're just going to trade off. I'm going to do this. Never pre-move. Number of games that have turned on a faulty pre-move, man. Wearing my comedy spectacles that make the board go if I move my head. Okay, so next moves are, in no particular order, knight to f3, castle's short, queen e1, and then queen will come to either this square or this square, depending. Okay, so knight f3, don't see a problem. Potesta. I don't know. How familiar are you with the Grand Prix? This is the thing. So Levy did a really good video, fairly recently, I think, saying stop. Beginners, stop playing these 4 openings. Okay. Now he did not go as far as to say that you should avoid playing the Sicilian as black, but he could have. He said stop playing the Najdorf, right? because there are just so many lines that you can find yourself in, and you're going to be the one that's out of your depth pretty soon because you're not a chess professional and you haven't got time to study every possible line. However, like he went on to say, when you play the Sicilian, right, there are still a gazillion different ways that white could respond. You can have open Sicilian lines. You could have Smith-Morra gambit, right? You could have the Alapin. You could have the wing gambit. You could have the delayed wing gambit. You could have this one with a3. There are so many different things that white can do, and this is why I don't play the Sicilian. Right, we have castles. But check out that video from Gotham Chess, really good. Okay, so here's the point. His bishop is now here, so his bishop's looking there. Now, typically you'd want to bring your queen in here, your knight in here, and deliver checkmate on that once you've eliminated that guy. But that's not on right now. So queen g3 is a thought. So let's have a look at the position. Let's just read it. Let's not try and go off memory. His bishop's a bit blunt because of this. I have f5 is my most obvious pawn break. e5 is also a possible pawn break. Getting my bishop onto this diagonal isn't a stupid thought. Neither is bringing my knight around to join in the fun. So I'm going to play bishop d2 for flexibility. Means my rooks could be connected. Okay, he might come after my knight. This is very common. They will often try and harass you down the queen side. Now knight round here is a thought. Defends that pawn twice. This pawn is defended currently once. Oh, but attacked, defended twice. But if I put my knight here, he has two attackers on there because I've blocked my queen, isn't it? So is it even time to break with e5? And if takey, I've got a pawn here, his knight's got to move anyway. I think I'm tempted. I'm tempted enough. That pawn was never destined to be part of the endgame, really. However, if black pushes, no, black's not going to push because he loses his knight. So, yeah, it's going to be goodbye pawn. Somehow. I mean, maybe knight moves, I don't know. So it really is a kitchen sink job, this. You just throw everything at black on the king side. I've just improved this bishop though, haven't I, really, in a way. I just started off by saying that with this pawn chain, this bishop was blunt. And now I've just said, hey, bishop, come and join the fun. The water's fine. Knight here, queen here. I'm not worried about the bishop because the knight's in the way. Now opponent is having a think. This is a 9-7 for me because I'm lower rated. I'm 22 points lower rated here. And this is worth the difference in. So it's not 8-8. Someone was asking in the comments the other day, how do they figure out the points? Well, if you're very close in rating, then it's an 8-8 game. Okay, and there's always, on chess.com, there's always 16 points at stake. If you're kind of even, then it's 8-8. You win, you get 8, they lose 8. They win, they get 8, you lose 8. The bigger the disparity between you, the more the lower rated player stands to win, and the more the higher rated player stands to lose, and vice versa. So if you beat a stronger player, you get more points, they lose more points. If you lose to a stronger player, you lose fewer points, but they gain fewer points, up to a maximum of 16-0. So if you're like 300 points different, 400 points different, then it's a 16-0 game. But yeah, we've played 15 ones and 14 twos and stuff like that. Anyway, so knight has come here. So if I take He's certainly going to take back with the bishop. I'm thinking maybe this is a move. If takes, no. Okay, what's my plan? I can drop my knight into this pocket here, and maybe up to here. Quite like that. Let's have a look, just hover with that. I like the look of that, I like the shape of that. Now I have two knights looking at this key square here, you see. However, notice my queen now cannot drop to h4, but queen g3, h3 is a possibility. And if takes here, I can take with pawn or I can take with knight. Either way, I'm looking quite strong. And very often that is all it takes. You know, if I don't see anything concrete, then it's a case of saying, well, how does the position look? Okay. Now, options are recapture with pawn, recapture with knight. Don't recapture at all and push on, but that's just a bit silly because it gives him more defenders. I could allow him to take and I take back with bishop. I can move my knight to here. But then he takes, and I can't recapture with bishop because he's got knight here. So pawn takes or knight takes. Knight takes comes with a clear and meaningful, clear and present danger in that I'm attacking the bishop that's undefended. And the bishop he's going to have to move. And it also leaves me an f-pawn that I can use as a battering ram later on. Okay, so knight takes looks fine. Pawn takes, I open up my rook and do not open up his. So my rook, well, rook lift would be unaffected because I probably want to move across anyway to one of these. But he's going to have, no, if hang on. Yeah, if knight takes, it's defended twice because it's defended by bishop and thingy. So I don't think he's going to take that pawn in a hurry, which means my knight is quite solid on that square. What if he pushes f6? Well, I just take the bishop. I'm going to go for knight takes. So this is move 13. Something that I've thought about doing. So what I'm just doing now is I'm just typing M13 onto the end of the address bar, just as a note to self, right? And the reason is that I wasn't 100% sure about that move. So that's one that I want to go back and check, okay? So we're looking at this, is defended. Suddenly, can you see, it feels like white has filled its lungs somehow. Okay, queen g3 looks natural. Knight here is defended twice because there's a queue of defenders. Here, knight here, yeah. It's time for the queen to come in. My opponent has just had to take a couple of... My opponent hasn't stepped forward for a few moves, put it that way. I mean, this is also not like queen here putting two attackers on this pawn, but the game isn't about this pawn, at least not at this point in time. It may change. Chess games change shape. Knight here, bishop takes. That's his good bishop, though. And I feel like this bishop is going to play an important role in the defense of the king. So I think that would be foolish for him to take. Pawn takes, giving me a bit of a foothold in his half, in addition to this knight. But also, with knight takes, I've improved... Ooh, hello. Hello. Right, if he takes me, I come here. I not only leave my bishop undefended, but he can also recapture with his bishop. So that's bad for me. Can't really allow him to take there, can I? But if I take, he must recapture with his bishop. That's got to be better for me. Now, it has to be said, suddenly his light squared bishop has jumped into life, sprung into life. Takes, bishop here, gets out the way of the pawn, now has good line of sight, kind of like this. He could kick though. Is there any alternative to this? There. I'd need to defend my knight, well, my pawn on e4 from the recapture. I'd also need to defend my bishop. I can't do both in my next move. So I'm just going to take. And now we have a sniper to be aware of. Yeah, I feel like rook e1 makes sense. This, I just don't want to waste time having to retreat. Also, now this bishop's in line with my a1 rook, so that's just a very simple move, right? I've got 7 pawns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The square where I don't have any pawns, sorry, the file is the e file. Therefore, I should have a rook on the e file, or a queen. This is undefended, this is undefended. This bishop could come here, actually. I didn't check that, did I? He's got that straight away, skewering my queen. So maybe I even need to drop my knight back. Yeah, he's found it, look. You found it, haven't you, you bugger? You found it. Anyway. This knight isn't that useful in terms of the attack right now. That was silly, Hunter. You didn't check. You didn't watch your back, did you? Okay, do I just like step forward, something like that? Keep the queen in line with the king, why not? And then I've got 2 recaptures. Maybe bishop coming up here. Yeah, because bishop's not needed for the defense of this pawn. It's super defended now, not even attacked. So bishop here could hurry the queen away. But then my feeling is I need to bring in my only remaining rook. And we also have an opposite coloured bishop situation, which is interesting. I'm down an exchange now. What I should have said here is, if I move my rook to here, what is my opponent's best move? Well, I'm lining it with my queen, therefore you have to check. You know, it's not exactly bloody rocket science, is it? Okay, so we've recaptured with bishop. Another attacking piece could be Old Harry. I've got a feeling that Old Harry may yet have a role. Because the g-pawn is a dark squared pawn. If we can eliminate the g-pawn or encourage the g-pawn to move forwards, then we have a dark squared bishop that could, you know, cause trouble. However, if h4, he's not going to play h5, because I just take it, so h4, h6, maybe, it's possible. But, you know, opponent's playing fine, and he's up in exchange, which will favour him in the ending. One other idea though. I have a queen looking at g7. If I put my bishop back there and manage to get my knight here, I'm threatening checkmate. And he would have to relinquish his queen. However, if I put my bishop here, he's going to kick. Kickity-doo-dah. So maybe I need to push a3 so that I can put my bishop there unopposed. Or even b4. b4, bishop here, knight here. Then I'm threatening mate on g7, and he has to give up his queen, I do believe. Because he can't put his queen here, get out of the knight's attack, because I've got a bishop there, what takes it? For free. Alles klar? So I've made a tactical error giving up the exchange. However, if you look at the game in terms of imbalances, I have a very sexy knight jammed in the middle of the board. It can be dislodged by the f-pawn. He's got a bishop that's relatively inert right now. Yes, it's looking down towards my king, but it's not looking at my king. I have a queen in line with this king. So he's going to need to think, how am I going to attack this guy? And that's exactly the move that I was just looking at. Huh. Who'd have thunk it? And here he can win a pawn. Little short-term tactics. But the queen takes, I win this pawn, hit him here. I want to get bishop here. So I think this is the move. We may see some pawns falling now. Okay, I can do this, but should I be looking to defend, or is there an opportunity to attack with venom? Da, for example. Yeah? Hits rook. Rook moves, I come back here. King go in corner. Queen he go here. Oh no, he'll want... King goes in corner, then the knight hangs, right? So if I go here, let's say rook goes there, yeah? Knight comes back, check. King goes into the corner. Knight comes back to here. It's going to force the g-pawn to move. I don't know, it's desperate. But desperate times call for desperate measures. I've now done an exchange and a pawn, and Laughing Boy here can sweep up all of this crap if he wants. And he's also got 2 advanced pawns on the queen side. So, I think all we can do is throw everything we can at our opponent. Okay, king could go here, but takes pawn with check. Oh. Well, that was silly, wasn't it? That was just a simple failure of not watching you back. So we can resign at this point. Resign happily. Now, point is, it's only a failure if you don't learn a lesson, so let's go find a lesson. I was playing somebody who is performing better than me at the moment. I'm rated 1440, he's rated 1470, and he played 94 accuracy. Hell's teeth. And it only gave me 1 blunder there, which is fine, probably that knight move. But look, it's really, really, really tight. So this is good, guys. Look. We've got equality up to here. Right, let's just whiz through. And particular attention to move, was it 12? Book, good. Yeah, knight f3. I can play knight f3 here, I suppose. Trade off. Okay. No, I'm not going to play queen e2. That's not the point of the Grand Prix attack. Okay. Alright, so all normal, excellent move. What move are we on now? This is move 10. Okay, e5 is excellent. Spinning round the... Okay. So we had to think about this one, didn't we? It says, you know, flipping the knight round to the other side. Maybe even better. Knight here. Okay, and now knight e4 is good. But here it's saying queen g3. But it's marginal. Opponent is playing very solidly. That's inaccurate. And that's inaccurate. Okay. Should have taken with the f-pawn. It's okay. This is the key thing. Yeah, pawn takes was the best move. Pawn takes, and let's have a look. And now we're dead equal. And he has to play knight b4. So I liked having my knight on there. which comes with this kind of one-dimensional idea of hitting the bishop, but it won a tempo. But pawn is best. Then I've still got 2 knights and a bishop all looking at this g5 square. Queen up here, maybe something like this. Pawn is best, kind of rebuilds my pawn chain as well, in a sense. I could even like push up here, solidify the center, and really kind of maintaining this idea in the Grand Prix of keeping my opponent's pieces, the majority of my opponent's defensive resources, offside behind the wall. Maybe that's a thought. Of course, Stockfish doesn't understand thoughts like this, it just understands brute force calculation, but same result in the end. Interesting one. But I have to say that I'm quite proud of that performance. I think 81.5 right now is pretty good for me. My opponent played out of his skin with 94.8, right? 1 inaccuracy, 1 mistake up to that point, and he earned it pretty well, right? This was my blunder. Yep. And I found it slightly too late. He found it okay. And now I'm like nearly -4, okay? Rook f2 is best here. Curious, okay. And that was an excellent move, and that's a mistake. Yeah, I just wasn't looking. Just didn't look at the whole board. Should have took the pawn, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, just failure to watch your back. But again, if that queen hadn't been there, that would have been a really good move. But even so, let's say king goes here, right? Black's still winning. Knight h5 is best here. And he brings in his rook to stop checkmate, but even pretending the queen isn't there now. So it wasn't there in the attack. But bottom line, he just got outplayed, which is fine. But interesting choice in the middle there. Should have taken with the pawn, not with the knight. So there you go. That's the lesson that I'm going to take away from that. But we get outplayed sometimes, and that's absolutely fine. It's fine to get outplayed. It happens to everyone from time to time. Congratulations to my opponent. Potesta did very well. That's it. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you later.